Hello there and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. I'm the RNGenius, but you may call me Eric, and in the last episode we had a little run-in with, or you should say a little rendezvous with Captain Claire, aka the Icy Maiden, and we gained some valuable insights while enjoying a nice drink in a bar. Of course I drank a non-alcoholic beverage because I'm a minor, but or representing a minor, but now it's our next day, our next field study day, and we have a couple of tasks to take care of. And we also want to, while taking care of these tasks, learn more about what's going on with the general situation with the first factory that manufactures tanks and steelworks and the like for the Erebonian Empire, because they are said to be backing the noble faction, and that has caused some serious troubles. And the noble faction is said to have been backing the Erebonia, the Liberation Front, the Erebonia Liberation. I've made so much fun of that name, I don't even know what they're called. But that doesn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Apparently the noble faction's been backing those guys, and the RMP wanted to investigate the first factory, and the provincial army stood in their way, and now they're gonna have to find some way to be able to investigate that place. And we're gonna not stick our noses into that, but feel a little bit. Get a little bit of a feel for the situation that's going on, and not get too caught up in the matter, because it's dangerous. And, you know, living on the edge is, not the best thing for students to be thinking about. But, I guess it's a friggin' video game. It's an RPG. We're playing a role here. A significant role is being played by moi, and I'm gonna enjoy that. But for the moment, let's talk to everybody, because that's what we do before we take care of any and all quests. Researcher, thank you so much, Chief. I'm so sorry about this. This is the last time you're here. If you don't at least try to stick to your development budget, it's gonna be my neck on the line. I really am sorry. At least we can get development back on track. No more screwing around. Yes, sir. What the heck did you do? Anyway, thank you again for yesterday. I really appreciate you taking the time to help me out. Anyway. Chairman Irina left early this morning. It's becoming increasingly more challenging not to be concerned about the sheer frequency of her business trips. But I suppose it's certainly not my place to be worrying about her. I wish you all the best with your field study today, though I might recommend staying away from the provincial army and the railway military police, especially after the tense argument between them yesterday. Yeah, about that. Thing is, yeah, never mind. Apparently Sharon was personally scouted by the chairman herself. Just watching her, I can see why. That's one capable lady. She was there to welcome the chairman back home at 2 AM last night, too. It sounds as tough as though the military army and the railway military police had a little argument yesterday. They've been at each other's throats for a while now, but they are professionals. They know better than to do stuff that makes townsfolk uneasy. Can I interest you in any optional extras? For instance, we can install some floating components that will allow you to land on the surface of water. Can I interest you in some more stuff? I want your money, bud. Can you now? If I took my clients on vacation, I'm sure that would make for quite the spectacle. Boy, he is on the friggin' hook. You have him hooked, is what I'm trying to say. The World War Revolution led to the Rainford Group increasing exponentially in size. In order to better manage that, it was divided into 4 huge divisions. It was Gwyn, the former chairman, who was responsible for that. He's the man who made Rainford what it is today. Incidentally, the current chairman, Irina, was the one who then introduced the new self-supporting accounting system, and that's made each of the 4 divisions even more profitable than they would be otherwise. Before continuing to talk to everybody, I forgot about getting a book. We got another Red Moon Rose chapter, and that might be the second to last chapter. Chapter 12, Elder Vampire. Gerard was Alphonse's superior and the commanding officer of a unit of the Imperial Army responsible for maintaining law and order in Heimdall, widely known as the Gerard team. More than that, he was like a father to Alphonse, as he was the man who had taken him in and raised him after Alphonse had lost his parents. Alphonse knew how hard Gerard had been working to try and catch the culprit behind the vampire murders, and how much anguish he felt at not being able to find any leads as to who the criminal might be, even if he tried not to show it to his subordinates. His desire to help ease that burden on his foster parent was part of the reason that Alphonse was so determined to catch the murderer himself. So what was Gerard doing here in the underground with them? He was supposed to be at the tavern that Elroy had attacked, taking command of the operation. What business could he possibly have here? Alphonse didn't understand, or rather he didn't want to understand. Gerard regarded Alphonse with a strange mix of disappointment and affection, like a father looking at his naughty child. Well, I suppose this is a lot to take in for you. He often made the same face when Alphonse addressed him too familiarly when on duty. Everything about Gerard was the same as ever, and he found that very fact deeply disturbing. It was then that he noticed that Luca was standing next to Gerard, her eyes vacant. She didn't seem all that bothered by the carnage all around her. In fact, she didn't even seem to be aware of it all. "Charms," said a weak voice. "So then that means you must be..." Returning to his senses, Alphonse looked over in the direction of the voice. It was Rose. She was still lying on the ground. Blood bubbled on her lips from the effort of speaking. It was immediately obvious, just from looking at her, that the damage she had sustained was lethal. Gerard, seemingly surprised that she was still alive, responded to her unfinished question. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Vampire Hunter. My name's Gerard. I'm the elder vampire that you two had been chasing all this time." He seemed to have no interest in hiding the truth anymore. Sir. It was Elroy, barely clinging to life. He crawled across the ground to Gerard's feet, his clawed hand grasping weakly at Gerard's pant leg, as if trying to cling to him. I'm sorry, sir, Gerard kneeled down and took Elroy's hand. Bending over, he lifted him up like a parent might take a child in his arms. "It's all right, Elroy. You did wonderfully in luring that loathsome vampire hunter to the capital. I was right to believe in you. I couldn't have asked for more." Listening to Gerard praise him, Elroy's expression was one of complete peace. "And that's why I have no further use of you. Sleep well." The warmth in Gerard's words seemed to drain in an instant. The next moment, a twisted grin emerged on his face, revealing beast-like fangs. No sooner had Alphonse noticed them than they sank into Elroy's neck. For the first time, Alphonse was... I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry. That was not appropriate. For the first time, Alphonse was forced to witness a vampire drinking blood. Elroy howled out in agony, his screams so piercing that Alphonse wanted to cover his ears to block them out. With agonizing slowness, Gerard drank his blood, and by draining him, also absorbed the life energy of tens upon tens of innocent human beings that Elroy had killed. All of a sudden, Elroy's former youthful body began to shrivel up like a desiccated husk of corn. As his youth evaporated, Gerard's vitality grew exponentially. Black smoke began to pour from the youth's body, hiding it from sight. Elroy's cries grew hoarse, then stopped entirely. Finally, his body turned to dust, which fell onto the damp earth of the catacomb. The smoke finally cleared, leaving only Gerard. He was now clad in a black coat in place of his army uniform, and instead of the middle-aged man he had been previously, he now appeared to be roughly the same age as Alphonse. A small line of blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. He lapped it up with his tongue, his expression one of pure bliss. He then started to look himself over, taking everything in, as if trying to adjust to his new body. The man before him was no longer the Gerard that Alphonse once knew. He was the very image of the vampires that appeared in Erebonian legend. Ah, simply delicious. It's been over a decade since I last had the chance to taste human blood, but it's just as wonderful as I remembered. That was well worth going through all that tedious preparing for. He gave a satisfied sigh. Alphonse could only look at him in horrified disbelief. So you were the one who turned Elroy into a vampire? You were the one who made him drink blood just so you could take it all from him? Now, Gerard. That's not a verb. That's not quite true. I'll have you know that Elroy willingly chose to become one of us. Gerard placed his hand on his chest in mock solemnity and cast his eyes downwards in a thoroughly exaggerated fashion. Elroy was an orphan. He had lived a poor, lonely life, more so than anyone else I have ever known. But I saw that he was capable with a sword, and I invited him into the army. And so he came to be dependent on me, just as I thought he would. Gerard wiped an imaginary tear from the corner of his eye. It was as if he saw me as his real father, he added with a laugh. Alphonse shuddered at the sound, chills running through his whole body. Eventually he started to resent you for the fact that I had always raised you like a real son. He wanted to receive that treatment himself, so he tried to find a way to steal that position from you. One day I decided to reveal my true identity to him, and invited him to become a vampire as well. He gladly agreed, hoping that by doing so, he would be able to be more useful to me than you, hoping that I would favor him more than I did you. From a short distance away, Rose still lay on the ground, unable to move and frustrated by what she was hearing. In all likelihood, Gerard had given a fraction of his power to Elroy when he had turned him into a vampire. The scent of that was the reason that Rose assumed that he was the elder vampire that they were searching for. But she had been wrong, and if not for her mistake, they wouldn't be in this perilous situation to begin with. For his part, Alphonse was stunned at the revelation that Elroy had held a grudge against him all this time, as well as the reason for it. It wasn't as though Alphonse had done anything wrong himself, or ever tried to hurt Elroy, and yet he was filled with a deep sense of regret. If only he'd realized how Elroy felt earlier, perhaps he could have prevented him from becoming a vampire, and avoided all of this happening. Furthermore, he had no choice but to admit to himself that Gerard was the true culprit behind all of this, and the man who had manipulated a lonely boy to kill countless people so that he didn't have to dirty his own hands. All of a sudden, the fact that they had been unable to stop the vampire murders no matter how much they strengthened their nighttime patrols made perfect sense. After all, what chance did they have when the mastermind himself was in charge of organizing them? As that truth dawned on him, Alphonse felt a dull, terrible ache in his heart. A thoughtful from Gerard brought Alphonse back to things at hand. The vampire licked his lips. Now that my hunger has finally been sated, I suppose all that remains is dessert, he purred. He glanced sideways toward the vacant-eyed Luca with undisguised desire, then wrenched his eyes away and focused on the still form of Rose. But before that, he said, suddenly raising his left hand and pointing it at her, I think it's about time our dear vampire hunter left the stage for good. Before Alphonse could even react, countless lances of blood, like the two that had struck before, formed and flew from his palm toward the fallen woman. Alphonse cried out, but could do nothing to stop their flight. Rose saw the danger and reacted. Still lying on the ground, she dropped the pistol that she had secretly been aiming at Gerard, and at the last second used every bit of strength that remained to her to roll out of the way. She avoided instant death, but it would only be a momentary reprieve if the vampire decided to strike again. Gerard shook his head in amazement. Ah, you really are a tenacious one, aren't you? Then how about... Stop! Just as Gerard was about to launch his next attack, Alphonse jumped at him, sword raised. He slashed with everything he could muster. The sword made contact, but aside from a dull ringing sound, it didn't seem to do any actual damage. Oh my, that's no way to show your appreciation to the man who raised you all these years, Gerard said, laughing. He flicked his index finger at Alphonse's forehead, causing an unimaginably powerful shockwave, which sent him flying backwards through the air. The silver sword Rose had given him was supposed to be able to kill vampires, and yet it wasn't able to do so much as scratch Gerard. It was then that Alphonse realized what he was up against. A true elder vampire, filled with the life energy of countless humans that Elroy had collected, that he stood no chance whatsoever against. The weight of that understanding filled him with despair. The vampire, meanwhile, seemed to think of something. "Oh, I know. While I'm telling you all of this, there is one other little thing that you might be interested to know. Think of this as a reward for surviving for so long." Winded from the blow, Alphonse could only gasp. What? Let me drink a sip of my tea. He struggled to rise, but he only got as far as kneeling. Gerard looked down at him, a vulgar smile playing at his lips. "The one who killed your parents was me." Just as Alphonse had thought that nothing else could surprise him, he was proved wrong. Gerard's words dragged the sights of his mother and father, all of the blood drained from their bodies, lying dead in their home over 10 years ago, up from his memories. Gerard continued, seeming to enjoy Alphonse's reaction. "There really was a vampire in that village back then. Naturally, I'm referring to me. Your father seemed to realize the first part and set about trying to find out the vampire's identity in secret. This was the first that Alphonse had heard about this. He had no idea that his father had once tried to do exactly what he and Rose had. He was an exceptionally capable soldier, you know," Gerard continued. "Far too capable to be stuck in a backwater village like that. But that did end up being his undoing. He very nearly succeeded in discovering that I was whom he was seeking. And that's why I killed him with my own hands. Him and his wife who was helping him." Alphonse stumbled to his feet and broke into a lurching charge at Gerard. With frenzied slashes and thrusts, he attacked the vampire, almost as if to avoid having to listen to what he was saying. Gerard laughed as he batted away with the weak blows. "The only problem with my plan was you, El. I had intended to kill you all at the same time. You were still a child at the time, but I couldn't allow anyone who might know my true identity to live. And yet, when I came to take care of them, you were away from the house." No matter how many times Alphonse hacked at Gerard, he could not connect. His silver sword and his fury, his grief, it all seemed meaningless against his foe. Nothing he did could hurt the creature who had taken everything from him. Completely ignoring Alphonse, Gerard continued talking. I couldn't very well kill you on a separate occasion either," he sighed. "Not with the chance that the vampire hunter I'd heard was skulking about. I'd heard was skulking about might catch wind of it and come after me. Too many strange murders in such a small town like that would be quite suspicious after all. And that's why I decided to keep you close to me instead, so that I could keep an eye on you myself." Effectively, it seemed Gerard's plan was to make sure that Alphonse never remembered anything that might help him realize the vampire's true identity. If he had, he would have been killed. The man he thought he knew, the man who had cared for him like a father, was a lie. Slowly, as the full bitter truth began to sink in, he could feel the hot prickle of tears stinging in his eyes. "But that won't be necessary anymore. I have no reason to allow you to live any longer." Gerard had previously been disregarding all of Alphonse's futile attempts to hurt him, but suddenly he went on the offensive. Lightning quick, he bypassed Alphonse's guard, and his fist made contact with the young man's right side. Bones crumbled under the sharp blow, and once again Alphonse was sent flying. He landed hard, but was almost immediately up once again through sheer force of will. The pain was incredible, and something was broken inside of him. But it didn't matter. He simply couldn't forgive the man, the creature in front of him, for what he had done. "You can't win, El. You must know that. Just give up and die." This time Gerard came to him. His attacks were relentless, like water gushing from a broken dam. Again and again his tightly clenched fist pounded Alphonse with the force of a wrecking ball. Unable to defend himself from the onslaught, Alphonse was showered with punches, blood spraying through the air with every strike. "Oh." Faintly he heard Rose call his name. She barely seemed able to maintain consciousness. If he lost here, Rose would be killed for sure, as would Luca. Losing wasn't an option. Being killed wasn't an option. The defeat of any kind was not an option considering what was at stake. A sharp pain in his side signaled about another bone breaking. Blood dribbled down his lips as he bit back a groan. The more time passed, the closer he was drawing to death's door. Nonetheless, he slowly raised his sword again, swinging it downwards with the last of his strength. As he did, Gerard aimed yet another punch at him from directly in front. With a dull metallic sound, the blade snapped in two. The power of the blow sent the top half flying. It flipped end over end and back, clear through Alphonse's right shoulder. It ended up impaled into the ground next to where Rose lay. The moment it sliced through him, it felt as though his strings had been cut as well. He had no more energy left to fight. He couldn't even maintain his grip on the broken sword in his hand. He crumbled to the ground, too exhausted to go on. As he did, another faint memory of the past resurfaced in his mind. During the short period before his parents' murders, there had been a girl who often came to their home, who had introduced herself as an acquaintance of his father's. She used to take him out to play practically every day, so that he couldn't disturb his father while he was working. Thinking back, the work he had been doing must have been investigating the vampire. It was on one of those days that the murders took place. If he had been home with his parents at the time, he would no doubt have been killed alongside them. It was thanks to her, taking him out that day, that he had been able to live in ignorance for so long and avoid being killed by Gerard. He had long forgotten her, perhaps because his parents' murders had left such a deep scar inside of him that all other memories of the period have been pushed into the depths of his consciousness. He found himself wondering how she was doing now, whether she was alright. He hoped she was. These were the idle thoughts that filled him as he lay defeated on the ashen earth, Gerard's mocking laughter filling his ears. And now, well, I think it really is time to finish this. Your mother and father are waiting for you up with the goddess. The vampire held the fingers of his right hand straight and rigid, thumb folded inwards, as if performing a karate chop. He then swung it downwards towards Alphonse like the blade of a guillotine, aiming directly for his neck. White light suddenly filled the area, obscuring all else. At the same time, Alphonse heard the sound of something rending the air. Realizing that he was still alive, he slowly opened his eyes. The hand that had been about to slice through Alphonse's neck now had a gigantic hole in its center. Gerard had his left hand wrapped around his right wrist and was staring at the hole in horror, unable to process what had just happened. The edges of the wound smoked and sizzled. Impossible! Before him stood Rose. Her injuries had been beyond most humans' ability to even survive. Yet, there she stood, unwavering, a smoking silver pistol in her hand. Her lips were still bright with blood, but her voice was steady. I will not allow you to lay another finger on him. Her eyes blazed with a bright crimson fire. Oh, fucking hell, it's gonna take another it's gonna take another friggin' 2 recording sessions to get that last book. Ah! Well, now I know why that old man was sitting there, just reading that book and nothing else. That's quite exciting. There's nobody like Lady Angelica. That's what makes her so beautiful. There's nobody like Angelica. Apparently Lady Angelica and her father, the Marquis, aren't exactly on the best of terms. If it weren't for that, I'm sure she'd come and visit us occasionally too. Apparently Lady Angelica and her father are not on the best of terms. Marquise Ragnar and Chairman Irina of the Rainford Company are considered to be this region's representatives, and yet I've never seen either of them in the cathedral. Honestly, do they not have a shred of faith between them? Do you, ever work, Mr. Businessman? Ever since the self-supporting accounting system was introduced, profits just kept on going up and up. But the workload follows with it. Still, I don't want the other divisions to do better than ours either, so I'll be heading back to work shortly. I guess I might as well say my prayers before I get out of here. Sister Sue keeps glaring at me a lot lately. She's starting to scare me. What? What? Maybe she finds you hot? Maybe she's interested. The city of Rower owes its development to the manufacture of arms and munitions. As you can imagine, men of the cloth, such as myself, have mixed feelings about that. Hopefully the people of Rower won't forget that it means to think of others because their city is built on death. What it means to think of others because their city is built on death. I'm afraid I know very little about the internal affairs of the Reinford Company. Chairman Irina and the other higher-ups aren't exactly frequent visitors of our church. If you could find some use in hearsay, however. I've heard that their internal conflicts are so fierce that even the chairman can no longer bring them under control. Perhaps it was the goddess's guidance that brought you back here now, Eliza. I pray that all of you will be able to play some role in resolving this. I mean, role-playing is what I'm doing now, so apparently I have heard, or so I have been told. Okay, nice. Another opportunity to drink. You're correct, that was actually me clinking my cup against the microphone, which was not intended. Absolutely not intended. I am very sorry. On the other side of this gate is the residence of Marquis Ragnar. Only those with permission are allowed to pass through. Oh, you wanted to ask about the monster on the southern highway? I don't think you'll have any trouble finding it, assuming you actually read the request at least. Hydras are strange snake-like monsters with 4 heads. I remember them having like 9, but okay. They're relatively weak to slash attacks, so plan accordingly. Fair. Huh. Another day, another opportunity to serve his lordship. Okay. That's a thing to say. Biblio. The city of Rower was designed to be divided into 2 areas, the upper level and the lower level. But a design like that means that you can fit twice as many buildings into it as you could otherwise. Marvelous, isn't it? Functional beauty at its finest. I really want to study at the Institute of Technology when I'm older. I'd love the chance to study the city's functional beauty and even create more of it myself. Dude, you're freaking 8. Don't worry about that. Worry about your first girlfriend when the time comes. Not about this shit. You're gonna need to do plenty of worrying later in your life. The Reinford Group has always been a major weapons manufacturer, but the Orbital Revolution led to this company expanding into other fields too. Now it's one of the few internationally renowned companies on the continent with more money than most major nobles. As you can imagine, that makes the situation with Marquis Ragnar a little bit awkward. Apparently the Reinford company is going to be treated as a special case when the tax hike comes in too. After all, even a 1% tax increase means that the company is going to be paying a few 100 million more Mira. Excuse me, are you Vanilla? We're students from Thors Military Academy? Did you say Thors? Does that mean you're the Class 7 students who helped my husband yesterday? That would be us. Then that must mean that your husband is Chief Johan then. That's right, thank you ever so much for helping him. What a fun coincidence this is. My daughter Mint attends Thors too. So you are Makarov's aunt. Mint from the Wind Orchestra? I do think that's her club of choice. Does that mean you're part of it too? Yeah, Mint and I get along really well. She makes practices a lot of fun. Oh, that's so sweet of you. It's great to know that she's made such nice friends over there. But back on topic, would you be willing to help me? Our cat Milk has gone missing, and I need your help to find her. Sure. We'll find her. If we're gonna find a lost cat, when did she go missing? It was 2 nights ago. I was making dinner like I usually do, and I decided that I would try and make something a little different. So I decided using an ingredient I'd never seen before, but when I did, an odor pungent enough to burn off your eyelashes started coming from the pot. You said you'd never seen this ingredient before? I wonder if it was actually something edible. So then what happened? Well, my survival instinct was telling me to air out the room. So I left the door open for a while to try and get rid of the smell, but while it was open, milk seemed to have gotten out. So, you haven't seen her since. What does she look like? Well, she has orange and white fur, and she's wearing a yellow collar. She's also extremely cautious and doesn't really like people very much. So I imagine that she's probably somewhere without many people nearby. I see. It sounds like we should mainly search outdoors then. Is there anything else you can tell us that may be of use to help find her? Well, she loves to crawl under things. I don't know why, but it seems to relax her when she does that. Okay then. Well, that's just how cats are. I know how she feels. You do? Well, anyway, that should be enough information to get started with. Does that mean you're gonna try and find her then? Of course we are. We'll get started right away. Crying over lost milk. Are you kidding me right now? Crying over lost milk. Good luck finding our sweet little milk. She's a little shy around people, so bringing her back might be kind of a challenge though. We have fee. It is not by any means a challenge. I'm a little excited to be helping out Mint's mother. Do you ever not, like, spend time in here? I'm researching orbital wave-based communications technology. The Epstein Foundation and Lemon State is unquestionably the leader in the field, but a variety of different terminals are being researched all across the continent. Ryan Ford's arc is included. I'm not gonna sit around twiddling my thumbs as other people surpass me. It sure looks like it, though. I'm sorry I have hiccups right now. I ate something directly before recording this video, so that's kind of odd. Almina's dream was a beautiful one. I'm proud to say that I was able to help bring it to fruition. Now that I have, I need nothing more. I want only to bask in her radiance. Wow. Almina's dream was a beautiful one. Wow, you're a nice guy. Holy shit, are you two married? Because if not, you should be married. It was thanks to Grant that I was able to open this bar in the first place. I'd always dreamed of owning a place like this. I honestly can't begin to thank him enough. It wasn't exactly easy, though. We both had to put our feelings aside to make it a reality. Sometimes I wonder if we did the right thing. Boy, I hope you guys are married right now. Then again, why did you name your friggin' club F? Like, literally, why F? I say F when I don't want to say fuck. That's when I say F. I don't like swearing. And F is, like, I don't know why F is not swearing, but F is not swearing. As they say. Who says that? Oh, that's the cat. I can see you from a mile away, kitty. Here she is. I never would have thought to look under this bench. Yeah, it's an easy spot to miss. Now the question is how we're gonna get her to come back with us. And there she's gone. Reaction timing of a fucking slug. Okay, I said, like, I should not say this. Not anymore, it's not. Gosh, this is right. We didn't have a chance. Well, let's head after her. I don't know where she went. I mean... yeah, she's gonna be somewhere. Our orbital remote-controlled car's only problem is that it runs out of energy in 5 minutes. But if we can make it last longer, it'll sell like hotcakes. I know it will, as a toy, of course. Who cares about seminars? All I care about is improving this car and starting a business. Nice. I spent most of the last year playing Blade, and I've spent most of this year focused on the remote-controlled car. I should probably be more worried about whether I have enough credits to graduate. But if I don't, hey, another year of this. Being a researcher isn't about grades anyway, it's about passion. Friggin' weirdo. I disagree. We want our research and inventions to revolutionize people's lives. Ask any student here and they'll tell you the same. That's what we'd all dream of. It's also why we all look up to Professor Schmidt and the former Reinfort chairman Gwyn. Those two made the dream a reality. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have your invention change the world? It's every student's dream. What do you mean, the standoff yesterday evening? What? You mean the standoff yesterday evening? Yeah, I heard about it too. The provincial army, the armored cars were made here in Rower, so it's sick that they were trying to use that they were used to intimidate people like that. We're researching technology that could potentially be used in weapons too. Things like that happened yesterday. Things like what happened yesterday really make you stop and think about where exactly your research is going. Sometimes students here end up making significant inventions which go on to have a large impact on people's lives. For example, a group of students here established the Empire's first radio station. More recently, a student here invented a device called an orbital washing machine. When the Reinfort company saw it, they were more than happy to bring it to the mass market. All of the students here are really devoted to their research. I hope that never changes. Not only was Professor Schmidt a disciple of the famous Professor Epstein, he founded this institute 50 years ago to spread orbital technology across Erebonia. Ever since, this institute has been the center of the orbital development here in the Empire. The Reinfort company might get all the press, but when it comes to fundamental research, this institute comes out on top. Speaking of Professor Schmidt's numerous contacts, he's an old friend of the former Reinfort Company chairman, Gwyn. That was how this institute and the Reinfort Company came to share technology with one another. This institute focuses on orbital research, whereas the Reinfort Company implements said research into actual products. Okay, let's continue to look for Cat. It would be foolish to try and deny that Irina Rainford is a skilled businesswoman. But that doesn't change the fact that she stole the company from the former chairman, and he's her blood father at that. I can't condone that kind of thing. It'd be foolish. The Reinfort group is so big, there's a lot going on that even employees like me don't know about. Chief Sandy and my superiors would probably know more than I do. Sorry, I'm not much help, but that's just the way that the Reinfort group is. You must be the students from Thors. Thank you for coming. I assume you must be Sandy. That's right. No, I wasn't expecting Lady Eliza to be accompanying you. I see you have I've seen you a few times over the years, but it's an honor to meet you in person. That's very kind of you. Well then, allow me to tell you a bit more about myself. As you know, my name is Sandy, and I serve as chief of the 2nd Factory's Firearms Development Division. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you. Thank you, the pleasure is all ours. It must be tough for Eliza around here sometimes. Yeah, she's practically a celebrity here in Rower. I must say, black tea is not exactly the best thing for your throat when it's aching. Or sore from all the talking you've done, because you're not used to talking like straight through 6 hours anymore. Which I haven't exactly been doing, but I have been talking enough so that my throat feels a little sore. Oh well. As you might have gathered, I need your help combat testing a new kind of orbital firearm. Specifically, I require the assistance of someone familiar with the use of orbital firearms in combat. So, would one of you be able to help? We'd be happy to help. Excellent. Well then, to begin with, what kind of gun would you prefer? What do you mean? I assumed you were just gonna give us whatever you had ready. Terribly sorry, I probably should have explained. Technically, I'm not asking you to test a gun, but rather a device that goes inside it. It's called an orbital unit. And what is that exactly? I'm sure you're all aware that orbital firearms use orbital energy to propel their bullets. Orbital units are the internal mechanisms responsible for producing that orbital energy. After much arduous research, we finally developed a brand new kind of orbital unit. As such, the model of gun it will be installed in makes little difference for this test, and any type will do. Okay. So, what you're saying is the orbital unit's basically the engine and the gun's the car. Precisely, a very accurate comparison. Alright, I think we got it now. So, what are your choices, gun-wise? I've brought 3 with me, a shotgun, a pistol, and a pair of gun swords. If you'll forgive me, I did a little research on your weapons of choice. Tests like these are best performed by those with a degree of proficiency. That's true. It wouldn't have been a very useful test if your tester was uncomfortable with the weapon in question. Oh, that's awesome! Thanks! Even brought something for me. Huh. So, what is it exactly that you want the tester to do? Ah, yes, I do have a specific test that I would like you to conduct. Specifically, I need you to defeat a number of dancing owls, a kind of monster found on the Saxon Mountain path. 10 of them should do. Dancing owls? Their name doesn't sound terribly threatening, but they are highly agile, bird-like monsters, which makes them perfect targets to test firearms on. The tester won't need to defeat them alone, but he or she must be the one to deal the finishing blow. Understood. How are you guys going to decide who gets to test the orbital unit? Huh. Well, how about you pick, fearless leader? Sounds good to me. I'm fine with that as well. Huh. Sounds like that's settled. You know, I don't always have to make these decisions. I think you're just gonna have to accept it. Alright, in that case. The targets are agile, bird-like monsters. Considering how fast Fee is with her gun swords, taking them down should be no problem. So, do you want to be the tester, Fee? Okay. Sounds as though you've made up your mind. Here's your test weapon. See what you think. Sure. Fee changed her equipped weapon for Black Raid. That should do nicely. Should we head over to the test area then? Yeah, I'm ready. Alright, let's get going then. The Saxon Mountain Path is where we went to get the mine, right? You got it. The exit's The exit's near the airport. Shots fired. Started. Strength down. But speed and dodge way up. Causes death. Boy. Jet black gun swords fitted with Reinfort's latest gun unit. I should have put that on Crow instead. Double Mustang. Yikes. What a giant piece of weaponry. Marcus, what the heck are you doing in this party? Are we even linked? We are not. Let's have you guys linked. Alright, and let's find Kitty. Because that was what we were here for, after all. My company supplies factories with various goods and materials, so an industrial town like Roar makes for a perfect business opportunity. I'd love for the rest of Erebonia to look just like this someday. I keep telling Papri not to listen to the orbital radio while working, but she refuses to pay me any mind. Very well, if that's how she's going to be, I'll have no choice but to confiscate it. I kept telling Papri not to listen to the orbital radio. Now I'm gonna have to confiscate it. Papri, you did it bad. You did it bad. Apparently the Roller Orbital radio station was started by students. It was apparently a student venture or something. It must be nice to be that smart. Apparently the Roller Orbital faction was a student thing. A student venture. They made that up. Okay, where's Cat hiding? Cat is not hiding here. Is Cat seriously hiding on the lower level? Man, Cat, why? I'm gonna have to chase her with that little orbital powered car, aren't I? I'm gonna chase her away 3 times and then I'm gonna grab that little car. There's Cat. Another bench, ah. We can't let her get away again. So, who's gonna try to catch her? Fee, seriously. The fuck are you doing, Rean? And there she goes. You just had to say the word catch. Hey, don't go blaming me on this one. This request keeps getting tougher and tougher. Cat. Well, what do you know? She's under another bench. We need to be really careful this time. Yeah, we should probably start by spreading out so that she has nowhere to run. What? That's the railway military police area. Oops, she really is fast. She ran into the station? So, are we doing the same? Yeah, if we let someone at the station know that what we're doing, I'm sure they'll let us in to look for her. They explained what was happening to a station employee, and they were permitted to investigate inside the station. Eventually, they narrowed down the cat's location to a single-stop train car. You know what they say about cornered animals. This definitely looks like the right train car. Let's take a look then, shall we? Is that how you're gonna play this? Cat. Why do this, Cat? Ah, there she is. There's nowhere to run this time. Yep. It doesn't seem like a smart idea to get any closer, though. At this rate, we're not going to be able to get her back home. Aw, if only I had my thingy with me. Your what? She's talking about one of these. Crow pulled a chick cat toy out of his pocket. Ah, victory goes to the prepared. Why do you even have that? Are you always carrying it around? Ah, well, you never know when it's going to come in handy. Here, kitty kitty. Crow started playing with the cat. Meow, 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 meow. Ah, would you look at that? Even animals find me irresistible. Doesn't look like we'll have any trouble taking her back to her owner now. Would have been fun to do that with a little orbitally powered car, but oh well. Thank you so much for bringing her back. Meow. See, look how happy she is to be back. She is right at home here. Maybe that's because this is her home. I'm sure she's relieved to be back. I don't know what we would have done without you. Thank you all so much. Here, take these as your reward. I made them myself. Melted gratin. Thanks. These look great. I can't exactly say I'm thrilled to try these. Yeah, same here. They do seem edible, at least. Huh. Well, thank you again. Crying over lost milk. Melted gratin? CP, 40 CP. Oh, and the ultimate gratin coated in a layer of melted cheese. Meow. I'm so glad Milk is back home. So, Milk, how about I treat you to some of my special home cooking tonight? Meow. She seems kind of traumatized. I am probably better cook than her. Oh well. Doesn't matter. Let's, before I talk to everybody on the ground floor, I will take care of the owl situation. Oh no, I actually took the right elevator this time. Escalator. I very much regret not giving Crow the gun and giving the damn gun swords to Fee instead. Oh well. Fee was equipped with Megalith. Fee is equipped with Megalith right now, so it made the most sense to do this.
Alright, if you want to fight that badly.
Oh.
My turn.
5 guys. Happy to have you.
Targets eliminated.
3 owls.
Let's get going.
3 owls down. That's a spooter. It's another owl. Owlboy. My owl.
Enemy sighted. Take him out.
It's my turn. Here we go.
No, it is not. 6 owls down.
Hostiles neutralized. Guess we're safe.
Guess we are. We're gonna get a linked level up right there through combat, which is absolutely ridiculous. A link level up through combat, but I guess this is the best way to farm that. Basically the only way to farm that.
Let's get this over with.
9 owls down.
Here we go. Targets eliminated. Let's get going.
And 1 more. Ah, Megalith is absolutely gross. This is a nice waterfall.
Ooh, this looks like a good spot.
You have got to be fucking shitting me. I'm very sorry about my language in this episode, I have to say. Oh, hello, beautiful. You look special. Can I get your number, maybe? Can I, take you out for dinner or something? We're gonna have you. Don't run away, please.
What even is this?
Apparently it's an invisible crayfish.
Huh.
The shit? Invisible? Oh. More crayfish. I am very glad I found this fishing spot.
What even is this?
I am very glad I found this fishing spot.
What even is this?
I'm gonna use 1 ground bait here. I'm sorry. This thing is pretty tough to catch. Oh. Oh, come on. Don't be a dick.
What even is this?
I'm only missing 1 fish. Nice. Coughs up water, Zepith. which I do not care about. There's not going to be anything else besides that crystal clear crayfish.
What even is this?
I don't know what I'm going to do with 1500 like fishing points though.
What even is
I
this?
do not want to hear that comment anymore. What do you say about... Why did I go this way? Invisible crayfish. A large crustacean that looks like it has been frozen in ice. It is extremely difficult to spot in water, perhaps due to the water's depth in its body. As a result, despite its large size, barely any have ever been caught. Okay, S rarity, Saxon Mountain Path. Wow, I am very glad I found you, Mr. McDude.
Enemy sighted! Take him out! My turn!
Here we go.
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Sylphid dance. That's that. Targets eliminated.
And that is our
Let's get
request
going.
done. Taken care of. That's number 10. I'm done. Yeah, good job. Well then, let's head back to RF Arms and report to Chief Sandy. But what about Mr. Big Griffin? Big Bad Griffin is back there.
A dangerous foe. Watch out. This is a tough one.
This is a
My
tough
turn.
one. Watch out,
right,
this is
let's
gonna
do
be
this.
rough.
Roger, leave it to me. Right.
There's literally a crit
Leave it
round
to me.
coming up.
I'll handle it.
There is no need to worry. I wanted to boost her up
Go,
to a
go.
super ass breaker, but never mind that. That won't be necessary.
It's my turn.
Well, F that. F you.
Go.
Nice.
You're open.
Oh, good deal. Thank you for
Leave it to
poisoning
me.
me.
Eat lead! You picked the wrong guy to mess with.
I should not have grabbed the finishing blow with Crow. Oh well. 40 seconds? That is unbelievably long. Unbearably long, even. Absolutely not feasible. Let's head down this mountain again. Oh boy. I'm sorry
right,
that I
if you-
say this every time. It's
All
just
right.
Here we go.
the next thing I think about when I see that owl is owl boy.
Hostiles neutralized. Guess we're safe.
The association is close to making my brain, or the it's just extremely strong in my head. Owl with owl boy. Do 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 do. Yep, full ass breaker.
Hostile spotted.
2 guys.
Go!
Not even worth talking about.
Hostiles neutralized.
Nix.
Guess we're safe.
Nice going. Get that bonding experience. Get that bonding experience. I'm not even gonna worry about you. Anthropod, Spider, you're gonna have a bad day.
Bring it on!
It's my
You
turn.
guys are gonna have a bad day.
Hostiles neutralized. Guess we're safe.
Okay. Our quartzes, our master quartzes are looking nice as well in terms of experience gain. Although people in the comment section were correct in the schoolhouse on the 6th floor down there with those red face masks, there is probably not a better spot to farm Master Quartz experience than that place. That was a very good place to farm experience at. But let's turn in the side quest and then let's end this episode. And don't you dare giving me that weapon. Completed the testing, I see. How did it go? Any significant problems? Nah. I see, that's excellent news. How did the test weapon feel to use? Was it as powerful as you hoped? Wasn't any harder to use than anything I've used before, which was good. Did a lot more damage too. Guess your company knows their stuff. Really? I'm relieved to hear that. It sounds like it won't be long before we begin mass production then. I'm surprised we haven't started already. Yeah, sounds like the new unit is pretty much perfect as it is. We still need to complete a long-term endurance test, I'm afraid. There are strict procedures which need to be followed in order for a weapon to be declared fit for sale. They are much more intensive than the requirements for consumer goods. Well, orbital weaponry is generally designed to be sold in bulk to the Imperial Army, so naturally standards need to be higher. Precisely. But your testing helps us take a big step forward toward our completion, so thank you very much for your assistance today. Here is your reward. Mechanic goggles. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, I haven't given the gun swords back. Ah, that won't be necessary. Consider that an additional reward for your help. That orbital unit was designed purely for test purposes, so we couldn't use it for a finished product regardless. Cool. If that's everything, we should probably get going. Yes, of course. Thank you again. I hope this won't be the last time we work together. Shots fired completed. I do like speed and evasion. Sorry. Hey, but those should be like a nice sell. 2K. Nice. What do mechanics goggles do? Hi. EP plus 100 prevents blind. Goggles that allow mechanics to focus on their work. Well, sure. Not gonna equip those because those are not useful enough, but hey. Okay, that was a successful episode. Very good. Then next time is the lower floor and our main quest, and maybe a side quest. But for the moment, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you in the next episode as well. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, toodles!